Last time we recorded, we added some fender flares. So what are we gonna do next?
Yeah, so we added fender flares and now the car handles like crap. So, we started documenting this a little in the middle of the process. So I think I kind of need to explain the reasoning behind all this, because I didn't really plan on putting huge ridiculous wheels and giant fender flares on this thing, but it's kind of where we're at now. So the car has about 300 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels, which on a front-wheel drive car is kind of a handful. And I was pretty much limited to 245 tires before, because the widest I could fit was an 8-inch rim. And even that 8-inch rim didn't fit very well, because it was, even with the 45 offset, it was running into the inner wheel well. So I couldn't turn to full lock in either direction, because it was literally rubbing into the fender wells. So I needed a wheel with a lower offset that was also wider to accommodate a wider tire. So I went with Rotiform LASRs in the 18 by 9.5 plus 25. And that still wasn't quite enough to meet all my criteria, but I also wanted a more like 80s, 90s rally inspired looking wheel, so this was really my only option. So in order to keep these from hitting the inside of the wheel well, I needed to add spacers to them. And I was originally only going to add a 1-inch spacer, but the back of these wheels don't accommodate the lugs sticking out because it's just a flat machine surface. So I had to buy new wheel spacers anyway, so then I decided to just go with 1.5-inch wheel spacers. So in order to cover that, I needed big enough fender flares, and I was originally going to go with some metal fender flares, but I'd always liked the look of the Rocket Bunny S14 kit, the Boss S14 front end conversion, and I just hated the front end on that car, but I loved the way the rear fenders looked, and so I bought 2 sets of the rear fenders. Not actual Rocket Bunny, they're Duraflex parts, because obviously I was going to chop them all up, and that wouldn't make sense to buy $800 flares to chop up. But yeah, those were the only flares that were wide enough to cover the front wheels, and I ended up modifying them to cover the front and rear tires that were sticking out quite a bit. It ended up being about 3 inches on the front and about 2 inches on the rear that I had to make the fenders cover. And now it looks pretty good, but like I was saying before, the car handles terribly now. On top of my alignment being like really far off, because I lowered it probably 2 inches more than it was already lowered. The torque steer is just ridiculous right now. And the reason behind that is our scrub radius was severely affected by the rims and the spacers. So we have a pretty seriously positive scrub radius right now, and this is what I'm going to try to remedy right now. I'm hoping I can get away with just increasing our steering axis inclination through the camber plate on the coilover, and then seeing how much of that camber I can correct back out through the lower mount. And depending on how much we can fix, I might need to either modify the lower mount or try camber bolts, or yeah, just figure something out. So this is our top camber plate. Most people use this to adjust their camber when they're getting in alignment, but since this is a MacPherson style suspension, when you adjust your camber, that also affects your steering angle inclination, which is our goal here. Is by dialing in some negative camber, we're going to be increasing the steering angle inclination to reduce our scrub radius at the tire. So as you can see from here, we're already pretty much maxed out on our camber adjustment for this lower mount. So I think what I'm going to opt to do, since luckily these case ports have a pretty good amount of meat on these lower mounts, is I'm going to opt to grind away some of this lower mount to increase our camber adjustment so that we can get our camber back as close to zero or just slightly negative. And we'll see how that works. Alright, so we have about 9 millimeters of material to work here. So I'm going to start by going with about half of that. So I'm going to cut away about 4.5 millimeters from the lower mount and see if that gets us a good amount of correction on our camber. And then if not, we'll go from there. so we increased our negative camber at the camber plate, and we corrected that at the tire by modifying that lower mount, and as you can see, that got us pretty close to flush with the fender flare. So that means that we get to keep this increased steering angle inclination, and by correcting the camber back out at the tire, that also brought the center line of the tire closer to the steering axis angle. So now, instead of being further apart, they should both be pretty close to meeting at the bottom, or at least closer than they were. And we'll know that when we take it for a drive, and probably should do a rough alignment first, because that's obviously we changed our camber, our toe is going to be all over the place now. But if this was successful, then our torque steer should be less noticeable, and the weight of the steering should also be lighter, because before, with the scrub radius so far off, the steering would be really heavy, because it's called scrub radius because that's the amount of the tire that's scrubbing on the road when you're turning. And when that's increased, more of that tire is scrubbing on the ground, and that transfers to more weight in the steering wheel. So if this worked, then our steering should be a little bit lighter, and our torque steer should be a little better. So we'll see how it goes.